Hey, Brock Faircloth, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
I'm doing pretty well. Ernie was not able to make it today. I noticed it was because you showed up in a Ford.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, man. I'm not a Ford guy, but hey,
that truck's pretty nice though. When you're
thank you,
pulling up,
thank you.
that thing looks pretty cool. Ernie Chevy, let him down, let him down. So there you go, buddy. Once again, we're taking that bracket racer card
Ernie,
from
it's
you.
all right, man. You can get it fixed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. They're very fixable.
Yeah,
And
very
that's where
fixable.
Chevy makes most of its money.
Yeah.
Fixing their cars. All right, Brock. So, what got you into this world of horrible financial decisions, brother?
Whew, man. I was probably, I would say, 10, 11, 12 years old, maybe, give or take. And a couple of my best friends, their dad had a drag truck. Dick Adams, if you go back and watch this, I'm blaming everything on you. He had a drag truck, and I was just fascinated by it. And he took me down the road in it. When I come back, ever since then, it was like, it's just need for speed. I just liked it. The adrenaline rush, and, like I said, I was young then, 10, 11, 12 years old, give or take. I can't remember the exact age, but I knew right then when I felt the power and the noise. It was a little square bodied Ranger. A
There you go.
little Ranger, big
Little
tire
Ford
truck.
effing Ranger.
Yeah, a little Ford effing Ranger. Took me down the road, right down the highway, took me down the road a little ways, turned around, big burnout, got on it, pulled back up in the driveway, and I was just like, wow. And I had boats. I lived on the water, so I had boats, and I was, all summer long, stuff like that. I was always out on the boat, and my parents had got me a boat that they actually had, and it was like a little ski speed boat, stuff like that. And I was always out, this and that. Then, as I progressed, as I got older, I did a little street racing. I think that's how it all begins.
In Mexico, right?
Yeah, in Mexico. Yeah,
Always in Mexico.
yeah, a little street racing in Mexico. And I met Ken Bunch. He was drag racing.
That dude's a character.
Oh, yes.
I'm trying to get him on here.
Yeah, yeah. I met Ken Bunch. I knew him anyway, but I had a little street truck and that I street raced, and I took it to him, full size Chevrolet truck, this and that, and I had big dreams, and I took him the truck, and he got it all straightened out for me, and I started street racing in Mexico even more, and he was working on it and helping me, and had nitrous on it and all kinds of stuff, and then we started hanging together, and then I started going to the track with him a few times, and then I guess you could say he helped the first person that really introduced me to it, to get me to that next level, to really get me hooked on it, man. Me and that dude would we'd work on race cars all week long. Friday afternoon, we'd get off work. I'd get off my job, he'd get off from his job, and we'd have everything loaded up, and we would strike out, and we would go wherever they were having a testing tune or race. And if we were on the way there and they got rained out, we would just detour and strike off to the next track. And that's pretty much it. Ever since then, it's been very bad financial decisions coming with race cars.
yeah, one after another.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, man. So I know you from a couple areas, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
One, as I mentioned, the 252
Right.
area. You have your own races that you do.
Yep.
You do Brock Promotions. Then you also have your business, which
Yep,
is Plastics
Plastics Plus.
So which direction you want to talk about first?
Shoot, it doesn't matter.
All right, let's talk about Plastics Plus first.
All right.
What got you into that business? Is that your full-time gig? Or
Yes, I've been doing that now full time. September made a year. I started doing it. I did my own windows in my race car years ago. The Green Goblin, the Green Mustang that I have, I've had that car 18, 19 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I did the windows, originally done the windows in that. Over the years, a couple of friends, I told them I could help them do it and help them do it. And then it's 2024 now, 7 or 8 years ago, I had somebody ask me to put windows in the car. Oh, I'll pay you to do it, And I said, all right, I'll do it. And I done it. Probably wasn't, well, I know it wasn't as good a job as what I would do now, but it was this, it wasn't, I didn't charge a whole bunch of money, and I enjoyed doing it. And I was like, hey, I like doing this. And then somebody saw that I'd done that car, and then another person asked me. I changed combinations on my car. I made one of the clear scoops, like, the original one I had was clear. The one now is it's like carbon fiber wrap.
Mm-hmm.
I made a scoop, then people started asking about scoops, and then I had somebody ask me, can you make a boat windshield? And I was like, I don't know. And
Probably.
yeah, probably. So I tried it, and it came out good. You see the guys, hunting guys with the dog boxes in the back of the truck, and you see the tinted Lexan slides in there. If you see those on a truck, it's 99.9% chance that I did.
There you go.
I started doing a couple of those, man, and it just took off. The good Lord bless me, man. I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, how far it's gotten. I mean, I ship stuff to Canada, California. I mean, I ship stuff all over the world. And let me back up just a little bit, because you're talking about how it all got started. My parents, my dad started a construction business. My granddad did. And my granddad died. My dad took it over. And my dad built an empire for a small town that we live in. I mean, he was great for himself. He did wonderful. My uncles, everybody worked there. Probably at different times, I've seen anywhere from 12 to 18 employees. And it's probably more than that. Just me growing up, noticing everything. And as I was in high school, I was hanging around the wrong people. We all do it. We hang around the wrong crowd, as your parents would say, coming up. And I traveled down the wrong path. I took some wrong turns. I got out hanging in the street. Nope, not pointing no fingers at nobody. I mean, it's all my, before the piss poor financial decisions with race cars, I made a lot of piss poor life decisions.
Yeah.
And I'm not ashamed to say it. I'm on the pot. I mean, I'm selling drugs. I mean, I was out there. I've done a lot of bad things. I mean, all kinds of stuff. I mean, you name it, I've done it. Shooting people, getting shot at. And to speed it up a little bit, 2010, I came home from federal prison with $300 to my name and like 2 shirts and 2 pair of pants. I come home in 2010. That's all I had. My wife, which is my wife now, she stuck by me. We got back together. Of course, we were high school sweethearts. We got back together, and she helped me, along with some other friends, just, to get myself back situated. You know what I mean? Actually, I guess you would say in society or whatever. I did have the car when I got out, but it was a race car. My dad, he tried to sell it the whole time while I was locked up. He was like, oh, you don't need this, this, that, and the third. But I told him, no, don't sell it. That was all I had. So when I got out, I didn't mess with it. It stayed in the corner. I started working and doing things, started progressing, and I started back racing. And I worked construction pretty much the entire time. But it led up to Plastics Plus. I started doing stuff on the side. And it just kept building and building and building. And I would go to work doing construction from 6 in the morning to 3:30 in the afternoon. And then I'd work at my shop from 3:30 in the afternoon to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night, doing cars and stuff like that, cutting windows out and shipping them. And it just kept getting bigger and bigger, and I kept reaching out to more people. And then I noticed that more people were contacting me from, like I said, Canada, places and I was just pushing it on Facebook on my personal page. And so it happened to, as I said, I was doing it. It's like a side hustle. So my wife and I,
As I pause real quick, he's got a water bottle, and I know he's going to chew it to death.
Okay.
Give me 1 second, everyone. My dog's got a water bottle, and you're going to hear it if I don't do something about it. So we're letting the dogs up at the podcast today because they're big and friendly, and you know. All right, asshole. Hand that over. Where'd you even find this?
He's watching you too, seeing where you put it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you can't have it. Yeah.
But yes,
All
it
right,
just
we're back.
yeah, it just progressed. I just kept getting more work, more work, more work. So
How much of it, if you don't mind me digging into it a little bit more, building your company, was just saying yes? You know, if a project would come in, even if you hadn't done it before, you're like, yeah, I'll figure out how to do it.
yes.
Yeah.
It started. I had people coming in, and I had no idea how to do some of the stuff. Heavy equipment, window replacement, the big excavators, industrial projects and industrial food plants and stuff like that. People would call me, and I haven't even looked at it. You know, they'd be describing over the phone. But yeah, I can do it.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I was just like, hey, it's all or nothing. And I was still doing this stuff on the side, you know, in the afternoons and stuff. And I was noticing that the business was picking up. It was picking up more and more, and I was getting more calls to do a lot bigger projects, big financial projects. So I made the decision last year. Me and my wife sat back and we talked about it one night, and I made a decision. And it was probably, I had to tell my dad.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad, remind you that my granddad started this construction business, and my dad took it over and built an empire. I like to say it's an empire. And I like doing construction, but I was at the point where people would, you know how it is. People don't want to work, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I say people don't. Some people do, some people don't. But, you know, the people calling in every day, I ain't gonna come in, my stomach's hurt, and then here I am, I'm sitting over here, my stomach's bubbling, and I'm at work. I'm just like, dude,
Mm-hmm.
you got, you know, I guess I look at it different. You know, some people just, they don't have any goals, I guess, you know, and I'm down here and I want to be up here, you know.
Yeah.
Keep driving, I want to be at the top.
Keep pushing. Yeah.
I just made my mind up, and then I had to break the news to my dad. So every morning I would go in to work. My dad's retired, and me and my cousin and another gentleman, we owned parts of the construction company. We were buying him out. It's incorporation, so we were buying him out yearly. We would X amount of money. We were buying him out, and I didn't know how to break it to my dad that
you wanted to sell your portion of the company.
I wanted out. You know, I was just aggravated and dealing with the public sometimes. Man, it's just, you know. Like the face to face all the time was just, it was just, and having to oversee people, and you know, it was just a lot, and I was just fed up with it. So finally, I went in one morning like I do every morning to talk to my dad, drink coffee, shoot the shit before we went to work, and he was like, I think I built the building back up 20 years ago for my dad. It was going to be his building when he retired. It's like a 60 by 60 metal building. It's got an office in the front, full bathroom, loft, all kinds of stuff, storage, and it's split in half. Well, I went in one morning. He was like, you know, I think I'm going to sell this building. He rents half of it out to a heating and air guy that does all of our heating and air work, well, all of the construction company, and it's a big one in Edenton. So he's like, I'm going to rent it out to, I'm going to sell it to him. I'm going to offer it to him. And I was like, well, what are you going to sell it to him for? And he was like, oh, well, you know, no, and told me. And I was just like, and I had been looking for me a place to rent for myself. And I was like, you know what? I was like, I want to buy it. And he just looked at me. He was like, well, what are you going to do? And I said, I'm going to put my plastic business in there, and I'm going to do it full time. And he's reared back in the chair. And I was like, uh-oh, here it comes. I'm going to get a rash of shit, excuse my language, or he's going to be happy. And he was happy. You know, he was proud of me. He was excited for me. So 2 months later, fast forward 2 months later, I got in the building and got all his stuff out that he wanted out, moved all my stuff in, and I've been in, like I said, now September made a year for me actually doing it full time, Monday through Friday, weekends when needed. That was a main thing is when I was doing construction and doing that, it was like I felt like I was always rushed. So I was doing it weeknights, weekends, because I didn't want to tell anybody no. because I wanted to make sure, and people can tell you everywhere. And I can't think of everyone's. I mean, there's been stuff that I've sent out that might be wrong measurements, and it might. Some of it, a few things might have been my fault. A few things might have been the customer's fault. But I've always tried to make it right because I want this thing to keep going to one day where I can sell it as a turnkey business or whatever. And I mean, we just don't do race car stuff. Like I said, we do race car stuff, boat windows, dog box slides, side by side windshields, tabletops, whatever I can. I mean, and I wholesale as well. You know, I'll sell companies sheets, whatever. You know. And
I was about to say, probably beginning of the pandemic was probably good for you. People buying up all the plexiglass.
Oh yeah, I made 1 million of those things. The shields and everything.
The shields that didn't do shit.
Oh yeah. I made 1 million of those things. It was crazy. But yes, it has taken off, and the good Lord has blessed me. It's a wonderful business. It is headaches at sometimes. Sometimes I'm ready to pull what little bit of hair I got, my beard out, going through stuff. But other than that, I enjoy it, man. I work by myself. I don't have to answer to nobody. I don't have to get a phone call from somebody saying they're not going to show up for work. And it's like everybody says, when you work for yourself, when you work for yourself, they say, well, when you do what you love, you never work a day in your life or whatever. But when you work
that's horse crap.
Yeah. And when you work for yourself, it's you got all the time in the world you want, and that's horse crap too, because you're always working, and when you're not actually working on something, you're thinking about it, or your next move, or your the next project, or the project you're currently working on at the shop, which you're not actually working on at the time. It's always something, bills, paying bills. It's always something. And
oh yeah, I mean, I own my own company. I and right now it's just me and an office manager. I have a new guy starting tomorrow, and I love what I do. I love doing plumbing, especially like the problem solving side of it. But it's work. It's a lot of work.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And anyone who's like, as you were saying, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. That's horse crap.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, nah, that's
still work.
It's still work. Drain line blows up in your face. Still shit.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You can't be like, I just love my job.
Yeah.
Mama must be home because they just took off. But well, that's awesome, dude. I'm glad that that's taken off for you. I'm glad that that's doing really well. So changing gears slightly, Brock Promotions. How did you get into starting up your own races? Because you only do them at Hertford, right? You do two up there? I
used to do them at Hertford and Outer Banks. And I'll get into that in a second. It's nothing like that. I started doing races. I wanted to do something for, I always, in the early, say 2005, 2003, 2000, they didn't have Facebook. Well, I don't think they did. We had grudgeracer.com. And that's where everybody got up there. It was a forum, and everybody got up there and they talked shit. And they posted videos and races and stuff like that.
Nothing's changed.
Yeah, links from YouTube and stuff like that. So everybody was on there. And I love racing, all forms of racing, no matter what it is. Some more than others. But I used to get up there, me and all my friends and a lot of people that I knew that I didn't see every day, and everybody saw it. And I was like, I want to do a race here locally like they have in South Carolina and Florida and stuff like that. So I did my first race. I want to say it was, I'm not sure whether it was Outer Banks or Northeast Dragway, but I done it at one of those tracks, and it did really well. It was a lot of people there. It was a packed house, a lot of racers, a lot of good racing happened. I had a couple, I think a small tire class, obviously because that's what I ran. I tried to run in it unlike I do now, and it took me a couple of races before I realized that I can't race in it and have the race. It was just too much on me, and it was just too much. So actually getting into them, I'd had them, and I had that one, and then I think I done one at the end of the year. I done one like in March or April, and then one in like October. Well, the next year they done really good, and tracks reached out to me and they were like, "Hey, we want you to do a couple of races," and I think Hertford did, and both of them. So I think I did like 2 at Outer Banks and 2 at Northeast. Then the next, and all of them, they were good. People were coming, had plenty of racers, spectators. So then the next year I bumped it up a little bit more, and I was just like, I done like 3 at Outer Banks and 3 at Hertford. So, and then if you do the months, I was like April, May, June, July, August, September. It might have been 7. It was like 1 a month. First year, it was okay. All the races, they did good. You know, you're going to hear people complain about certain stuff, you know, how things didn't run as smooth as what they would like or anything. And I tried to make it better and better, you know, every year until it comes a point in time with just about all racing, it'll fizzle out. And David Braxton, when you watch this, or if you watch this, don't take it. It's kind of like the big class now that I run in the 252. It's kind of fizzling out. The limited class is still strong. They still got, you know, anywhere from 12 to 21 cars an event. But the bigger class, for some reason, is just fizzling out. A lot of people aren't ready. When everybody's ready, everybody's life schedules don't line up. So the class is just fizzling out.
Well, and like the big dogs as well, they're going to go to whoever's offering the most money that
right,
weekend
right.
as well. That's the other thing.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Right, exactly. So, you know, and the racing started kind of dying because the races that I was doing. So I fell back. Outer Banks changed the ownership about two or three times, or 2 or 3 different people had leased it and this and that. And it really kind of, I'm not going to say ruined the reputation at Outer Banks. It just kind of messed it up a little bit. So the spectators wouldn't come. So you would have all the racers there, no spectators. And spectators is what pays the bills. So I kind of fell away from Outer Banks and started doing them at Northeast. And they've been working out good. But when I come back, I think I took a year off. And then I come back. It's like I took a year off. And then the first year that I ran a 252, towards the end of that year, 2019, I said, I'm going to do it kind of like Chris Aaron was doing his races on 252, kind of have like this one big open class with a second chance race, pay good money, decent entry fee. And I did it. It was a hit. So the following year, everybody's like, man, you got to do more races. You got to do more races, which, of course, I was doing my thing and hadn't started Plastics Plus yet. I had, but it wasn't an official start. So everybody's like, do more races, and they still say it now. Everybody's like, oh, you need to have more races, but it's a headache. Everybody says, oh, it can't be a headache, you know, this and that. Everybody thinks you make money hand over fist. You don't. Anybody that's done a race and had a race, anywhere here in North Carolina knows that you don't make money hand over fist. It just don't happen like that.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're able to put something together and you just get sellout crowds every time. You know, like World Cup final is going on right now.
Oh yeah,
I'm sure they're making money on that because they got good sponsors behind it.
Right,
and they've sold out. They sold out every single day. Right. I'm sure the track's making great money on that event.
Oh yeah.
Right. The next one, I doubt they're going to make much money on.
Right. I mean, it's how. I mean, it's a coin flip. You know, you win some, you lose some. You know, and that's what I tell people. Sometimes, yeah, you might do good, but the next one, you might not do so good. You know, so it kind of just washes over itself. And folks say, oh, they must be doing good because you're still having them. Well, I do it because I like it. I like to watch racing. I like heads up racing. I like that the best. And I do it because I like to see people having a good time. That's another thing. I like to have a good time. I like drag racing. I like heads up racing, small tire racing. I like big tire racing. But I like to see people having a good time. It's like a big family, you know. When you get to the racetrack, you see everybody, the kids, everybody's just walking around. You don't see nobody with a frown on their face. Everybody's smiling. Everybody's, hey, how you doing? Everybody's having a good time. So back to the Brock promotion thing. So since in the past 4 years, I believe 4, might be 5, I've just been doing one in April and one in September.
Mm-hmm.
One in the beginning of the year, one at the end of the year. They've done great. We've had tremendous support by racers, sponsors. I can't remember all of y'all that if any of y'all are going to be watching the podcast, but I really appreciate y'all. I thank all the sponsors, the spectators, and the racers. Without them, none of it could be possible. We try to accommodate, and we've been changing. You know, we've always had the big class and the small block nitrous class, and we've added stock block and then this and that, and I tried to see how it was going to go. We're probably going to fizzle out of that this year just because the support hadn't been there since I've been having it. I mean, anywhere from 5 to 8 cars, and there's a lot more stock block cars, nitrous cars that could come out there and run it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the holdup was, but it is what it is. But yeah, that's the Brock promotion side of things, you know.
Well, it's hopefully with this new iteration of the car, I'll be able to come out to some. The last iteration of the car, I didn't stand a chance in any of the classes that you had. So it was one of those like, I'll hang out. You know?
Right.
I'll hang out back at home. And, you know, because, I mean, so you've now made the drive from there to here. I've made the drive from here to there probably 6 or 7 times. You know, it's a drive.
Oh, yeah.
It's a drive.
Yeah.
You know,
it's 2 hours and 20 minutes to get here, I think.
Yeah, and you weren't hauling a trailer behind you.
Yeah, that's right. Well, it's like when we raced 252, the first year we raced, well, just any time when we raced in Kinston, it was a 2-hour ride there. And I would work on Thursdays, get off work a couple hours early so I could get all my stuff together, and then we'd haul tail to Kinston, and then we'd get off. We wouldn't leave Kinston until 10, 11 o'clock, sometimes 12 o'clock, and then 2 hours home. It would be 1, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning before I get home, and then
drag
go
your
to sleep.
Butt to work.
Yep, and then get up the next morning and go to work. We did that for a whole season. But that first year of the 252, it was tough. And then, you know, we weren't racing for no money. You know, I think it was like $50 or $100 a round or something like that.
Yeah, which, you know, if you live local to it, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know, because like if you pay your fee at the beginning of the year, it's no entry fee on the race night, and then every round you go, it's $50. I mean, that's pretty awesome, right?
Yeah.
I think that's cool. But, you know, if you got to drive a long ways, that's not a lot of money.
Yeah, oh no. I mean, it didn't even cover the cost of actual, that was, if you go back, that would be a poor financial decision. Let's go take $100,000 operation and go run for $50 a round. But it wasn't about the money. It's never, the money is good. You know, you win some, but it's never about the money. I mean, I'd hate to say that it is. I mean, yeah, when you win some money, it's good. It's always good when you win something. But I mean, 2025, I'm gonna go to the track with what I got, and I'm either gonna leave with something or I'm not gonna leave with anything because it costs too much, man. The level that we're racing at right now, entry fees and nitrous and gas. I mean, I know it's a little bit cheaper for the turbo queers, but I mean, the nitrous and gas and dragging up and down the road and the wear and tear on your stuff, man. And then, you know, you get a $2,500 purse. You go to a race, it's $2,500 purse. And, you know, after one round, you split you knock a little bit, you split a little money or kick back some. Then you got, you know, semis and then first and second. And by the end of the night, you know, it's, You might get lucky to have enough to cover your expenses just to get there. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
It's just and some people, you know, they say, oh, you know, we were talking about it in a little group chat we got. You know, like, oh no, man, you got to, you know, if you don't kick back no money, it's gonna bite you in the butt one day. But I just. Yeah, it might, you know, if you don't kick back no money, if you're the, excuse my language, the asshole about the whole thing, and you're like, I'm not kicking back no money or whatever. Yeah, one day you might get in the finals and you get your teeth kicked in, you know what I mean? But hey, I look at it like I've been thinking about it a lot over the past 6 months, and really over the past couple of weeks, it isn't feasible, man. You got to either when I go racing, I'm trying to win. You know what I mean? If I'm gonna race and run my car, I'm gonna race, and I want to race. When I say splitting, I mean no matter what, if the money is busted up some, yeah, I could see second place getting some money,
Mm-hmm.
and first place getting us a substantial amount more, but like breaking it down and keep breaking it back and breaking it back, unless it was just like some crazy purse, like $30,000, and first place 120, second place 15, and then if you want to take the other 5 and bust it up after that, yeah, that's what I mean. But
Yeah.
and it might be a selfish way to be thinking about it, but this is my thought. I mean, I go to the race and have fun,
Mm-hmm.
and I go to win, and everybody wants to win, but it ain't like if I lose, I got to pull more money out of my pocket.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What frustrates me a little bit sometimes, is like, I've done a couple races where they'll be like, hey, first is going to get this, second's going to get this, right? And then the other guy goes, yeah, like you'll get into the finals with someone and they'll go, yeah, but do you actually want to split? And I'm like, well, they already split up the money.
Right.
And he's like, no, but a 50-50 split. I'm like, no, we're
Oh yeah, yeah.
let's just run.
Yeah.
You know, and if I lose, hey, I'll take $500 and you take $1,700.
Right.
Which is what I've run for before. I'm
For example,
yeah.
Northeast Dragway, I think it was last year. I was racing. We were in a small tire shootout. I got down to in a shootout with a guy, Dylan Phelps. He's a good bracket racer. He's got a small tire car. And we were getting ready to run, and he was like, it was just me and him left, and I want to say the money hadn't been touched.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't going to say anything. Yeah, I was faster than him. Yeah, I should have won. He come up to me and said, how you want to do the money? I'm just going to use this for an example. It's like $2,000 left or whatever. And I said, we'll do 14 and 6. He was like, let's do it 50-50. And I said, no, the winner needs to get more. Well, let's do it
40-60.
Yeah, whatever. You know what I mean? And I said, no. I said, let's do it 14 and 6. I'm just using that for example. It might not have even been, it might have been even more lopsided than that. I can't remember. Well, we went up there, and guess what Brock did? Brock went red for the bread. 001 red for the bread.
Damn.
So, I mean, and it happens. But, I mean, and then afterwards I told him, I said, see, man, anything could happen. He was like, oh, this, that, and the third. But, I mean, it happens.
Mm-hmm. It does.
Yeah.
It does.
The fastest car don't always win. The slowest car don't always lose.
Well, and at the end of the day, there's one winner.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
You entered a class with 10 other cars, 32 other cars. Only one of you is winning.
Yeah, that's right.
Right?
If you're not first, you're last, Ricky Bobby.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, I'm never opposed to doing a split. What I don't like is getting strong-armed into a split.
Right.
Where it's like, oh, if you don't split, you're an asshole. Oh, if you don't split, I'm going to protest your car. I've gotten those, right? Sometimes at the same time. It's like, if you don't split, I'm going to protest you. I'm like, can't protest me. We're already past first round. Well, then you're just an ass. I'm like, granted, but what else?
Right.
That's just my personality.
Uh-huh.
And you're right. I'm in it to win it. I didn't enter the race thinking I was going to get second. I entered the race thinking I was going to win.
Yeah, that's right.
And so, yeah, I don't know. The split is always one of those weird things. It depends on the person too. There's some people.
Well, here's the thing with the split with me. And this is how I always see it playing out. When you got a group of guys that are racing together. The split sometimes will be split 4 cars. They'll split it 4 cars, but don't let it be the next race where the last 4 cars and there's not but one of them that really should be there and the other 3 shouldn't, and then the split don't want to go that far. Or you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's no consistency in it. Because you look at it and it's like, well, I should be able to outrun them, or you know what I'm saying? It's it's no, sometimes. And, of course, we don't always run for the same amount of money. The purse isn't the same. So, you got to look at it different ways. But it seems like it's rehearsed, kind of, like it's already, what's going to happen or how the money's going to go and stuff like that. And I hate that, too. That's why my races, the last couple of ones, if I say the purse is going to be this or first, second, and semis, this is what I'm paying back to. I already had the money split up. When the guys come to me and say, well, we split it up different. I said, well, you won first. I'll give, first place their money, second place their money. Semis, if there's a semi, I'll give them their money. And I'll say, y'all can go figure it out. That's not my job to split it up and deliver it to whoever gets some. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah. No, that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
So sticking on the promotions side of stuff, I'm a streetcar class guy. That's always where I've been. My car's still going to fall under those rules even after I've made all these changes. Why is it that it seems that all the promoters just don't care about streetcar or don't like streetcar?
Don't nobody want to see that shit, man. Nah.
I would beg to differ, sir. Did you watch FL2K?
No, I didn't. I didn't.
The FL2K, they had a sold out pack, and that's all streetcar stuff.
Really?
That's all streetcars.
Yeah. Man, the streetcar stuff that scares me at my races because it's a lot of straight shift cars and stuff like that. And then what bothers me is the starting line. Mm-hmm. It's like when some people's definition of street cars is different than other people's, and some people might come out there with some people just don't care. I'm gonna get in this race. I got a street car. The heck with it. I'm gonna pay the entry fee and I'm gonna get in it. And then they go out there and they don't have a street car caliper, say like the yours, and they go out there and they dump the clutch and take off, and it tears the rubber right out the middle of the track, or it tears the rear end out, and you got oil and stuff everywhere and stuff like that. And the street car stuff, I don't know, man.
I mean, that's where you just have to have minimum rules put in there. Go, look, you can be a street car, but no hard tire.
Right,
it has to be a DOT rated tire, like SS or a ET Street R or something like that.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what most of them do is they say it has to be a DOT rated tire. They give you the tires that you can use. They say this one, this one, this one, this one. Right. With a couple exceptions where they go like, hey, a Pro Radial is not a street tire.
Right.
It's got a DOT rating on it, and the DOT rating is no.
Right.
That is what the rating is. They say no, this is not a street tire.
Well, see, my thing would be, street car would be tags, insured, everything working like it's supposed to, except maybe the air conditioner or something like that. But I mean, you got some of the guys that come in there with the race cars and hollering the street cars and stuff like that, and I don't know.
I usually base so I'm doing a streetcar class at Galat, and I'm basing it off of weight.
Right.
Right. In my opinion, an actual street car should be heavy.
Right.
Right. These street cars that weigh sub 3,000 pounds, you're not a street car.
Right.
So I put the minimum weight at 3,700 pounds with the driver.
Right.
And I was like, that's going to weed out in my opinion, all the race cars out.
Yeah.
Because no one is going to be willing to put 500 pounds on their car.
And like somewhere like Galat, that would be good because they got the scales to drive across scales. See, somewhere like Outer Banks or Hertford, or I'm just using these tracks for example, Kinston or any of these smaller tracks, Jacksonville. I don't know if Jacksonville, they don't have scales, do they?
I think they have scales. I'm not.
Any of these other tracks that don't have them, it's just one more thing that would have to be done to have the race. As far as if you went by weight rule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, which, hopefully, I'm still waiting for Josh to put the flyer out. We're having it. So it'll be this weekend coming up. We're having the class. Although by the time this comes out, it'll have been last weekend.
Right.
That's how time works. I've been reaching
especially
out.
If you're Shannon Young.
Yes, we're going to get to that. But yeah, I've been reaching out to guys about being in it. I've got like 15 guys that say they're going to show up. We'll see if they do. But I did tell them, hey, all of you have to go across the scales every single time.
Right.
There's no magically after first round you lost 300 pounds and now all of a sudden the car weighs 3,400.
See, that's another problem. See, I used to run in a class. Man, it was Performance Fabricators 10.5 Limited, and everybody had to weigh 3,000 pounds. Turbo cars, nitrous cars, stock block cars, it didn't matter. Everybody had to weigh 3,000 pounds. And I was out there with a stock block 421 Chevrolet with 2 kits of nitrous on it, running against, and it was, stock suspension, pretty much a street car, basically, you know what I mean? And I was having to run against 4-link car, chassis cars, stuff like that. And that's kind of what, but I mean, again, and I chose to do it, but what I'm getting to is, is making them drive across the scale every time, because I'd go out there first round, and if I made it past first round and I knew I had a bear, I'd be in there snatching weight out of the car. I'd take 250 pounds out of the car, and I'd just be like, well, if they make me weigh afterwards and I lose, but I'm gonna go out there and run it like this anyway. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But they're driving across the scale after every pass, and that's the easiest way, especially at Goliath, because they can cruise right up, stop on it, look at the weight. All right, you're good, and if they're not good, you're out.
Yep, you're out.
Yeah.
Just make sure the guy you're running against also runs across the scales.
That's right. Yeah.
And I told you guys, look, you skip the scales, that means you're forfeiting.
Right.
That's
right.
It's an automatic forfeit.
You drive past it. That's right.
You drive past it. I'm like, none of this. You drive past it, and they go, oh, I forgot. I'm gonna just turn around, and come back. It's like, yeah, I'll stop by my trailer real quick, throw 200 pounds in the car, then drive back. Right. Yeah. No, we're not doing that. I'm
just checking. This is my wife. I'm just making sure.
You're good. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it, and part of my rules as well, it has to be a DOT tire, and I'm going to make them do an idle in the lanes, make sure that it actually gets up to heat. They're going to have to run for like 10 minutes without touching the cars.
Right.
Or a 15-mile cruise. I haven't decided which one yet.
Mm-hmm.
But, what they don't know, and I can say it now because they're not going to know till afterwards, is they're doing the 10-minute idle, and then they're doing shakedown immediately.
Ah, okay.
So none of them know that yet.
Gotcha.
What they think they're going to do is do the cruise and then go back to their trailer, cool down, fuel up, change some stuff about the car, and then go up. I'm like, no, if it's a street car, it should be perfectly fine. Pull it in the lanes, idle for 10 minutes, and send it down the track.
Yeah.
And then run across the scales. We'll knock all it out at one go.
Yeah.
That'll
cut all the BS out for sure.
That'll cut all the BS out. If you can pass all that, great.
Yeah.
Go on. Let's have a good race. So I'm hoping it takes off. The problem I found around here is they do a lot of 28s, like extreme 28s and limited 28s. If you're not running a high 4 to a low 4, you don't stand a chance. And so there's nowhere for that kind of like, I'd say mid-lower range of guys who have like a decent street car, but it's heavy, and there's no chance they're going to make it into the 4s. To race. It's just you get to be a test and tune champion.
Right.
I'm gonna make that shirt one of these days for the podcast. The test and tune
champion. Get one for me.
Champion. Yeah, I'll get you one.
I like testing.
So
testing always pays off. Remember that.
Oh, it does. It
paid off the past weekend.
Speaking of, let's get into that.
Testing
252 King of the 252 race, and came down to you and Mr. Shannon Young.
Who?
And, huh? Your son.
Me? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Shannon Faircloth.
Shannon Faircloth. That's right. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
yeah, man. We'll go back with the car. I won 252 in 2019. We dominated pretty much the whole season throughout the whole race. We come off of that year. We didn't make too many changes with the car. We went back out the next year and pretty much, we ran decent, but for the most part, everybody had stepped their game out. Some people come out with some new cars. So we were pretty much, I would say let's just say 30 cars. We were still in the top 10, but my program wasn't to par. I had some other stuff going on with nothing bad, just life, family stuff, and I couldn't catch life, I couldn't catch some of the races, so we did all right. So after that year, and during the year, a lot of people stepped their game up, car changes, motor stuff like that. So at the end of the 2020 season, I changed a bunch of stuff up, power plant in the car. We sold the motor out the car, got a new motor. Did some transmission changes and did some other things to the car, and come back out in 2021, and I sucked. I struggled with the car. I did decent. I still won a few races, 252 and not 252, and even in the 20 season and 21, same thing. But I struggled. I didn't want to burn the car up, burn the motor up, because I was dealing with something that I hadn't dealt with yet, and so I struggled, just like anybody would, something new. 2022 we struggled some more.
That was my first season.
Yeah, 2022 we struggled. So we're in 24 now, right? Yeah, I'm sitting there trying to think. 2023 We won a few races here and there, nothing to brag about. Still struggled. I don't think I made the King Race 23 life. Just I didn't make enough races or something was going on where I wasn't able to.
It's okay. I didn't either. I was blown up.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly what it was, but nevermore. I wasn't eligible. I don't even think for the King Race that year, so we stayed out, and then 2023 was about the same if I hadn't said that already. And then towards the end of the year, I was just like, everybody was progressing. By then, I had done changed power plants, everything in the car, and changed a bunch of stuff and electronics, and everybody were just like leaps and bounds ahead of me. I had the equipment to do it with. I just didn't know what to do with the equipment.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of last year, I made a decision that I was going to pay somebody to come in and help me with my program. I got a gentleman, and everybody knows who it is. I'll just say Dominique. He come in and he really turned my whole program around. We started testing in April after my race this year at Hertford. First 330 hits. I went personal best 60.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the first one we ran, he just wanted to see where it was at and get data. We ran that first 330 hit. We shut it off. He got data. He put a tune up in it. We went a little bit faster to 60 foot to the 330. The next one we did the same thing. The third one, it knocked the tires off. We were trying to get after it a little bit more. The car steered. It drove to the right a little bit. Driver error. I should have let off of it, but it felt good, and it went a little bit too far to the right. And then when it did, it knocked the tires. And everybody knows about a radio car. I was probably 100, 150 foot out, and when it spun instantly and went probably 300 mile an hour wheel speed and turned to the left, and I hit the wall. So April, May, June, July, I worked on the car. I got it all put back together. Got everything done. I can't remember when the Jacksonville race was. That maybe July, August, maybe. In August, the Jacksonville race come up.
Yeah.
So at the time, we didn't have but
it was right on 4th of July, I think.
It was 2 330 hits, or 1 330 hit with just what I had in there. And 2, well, he messed with it. And then the 4th one, I believe it was, knocked the tire off, took a hard left. I hit the wall. So I didn't race none May, June, July, and I want to say it was August when that race was. So August they had Jacksonville. I had the car together, and I wanted to go race. And in the meantime, I had been hearing all the crap from everybody. Shannon Young, hearing a wad of crap. Oh, you don't want to race, this and that, scared. You got to come out the house. You got to race to be able to win, this and that. But that wasn't a thing. My time and my work at that point was way more important. I had some projects and some stuff going on, and I was more focused on that and making sure, because I'm just like anybody. Well, I say like anybody. I don't want to fail at nothing that I do. And of course, failures make you what you are and who you are. But with my business, I don't want to fail. I want it to be top shelf, next level. I want everybody to know that, hey, if you deal with Plastics Plus, this is what it's going to be. So anyway, I missed a few races. Couldn't go it was hot too this summer. I mean, it was brutally hot, and it was no need.
We have like 7 weeks straight. It didn't rain.
Yeah, and
6 or 7 weeks,
and it was dry, and it was hot, and I was working in that stuff. I didn't have no desire to go racing, to go sit out at the racetrack and
I get that.
Sit there all day long and half the night and then race and then get home and then the whole next day you're tired. I didn't have no desire for it. So we come up to that Jacksonville race, and it was still hot. And my wife and my kids, which are all supporters, my A1 Ace Boone Coon, my youngest son Jaden, he's always at the track. He's the one you always see with me, lining me up, everything. Everybody wanted to go. The car was ready, so hey, we struck out. We went to Jacksonville. My tuner couldn't be there. He was at another race. He helped me a little bit remotely, over the phone, remote tune it and stuff. And we went out Friday night and we sucked because we spun like I hadn't changed anything from the tune-ups, and we just wanted to get a 330 hit to get some data before we made a full pass. And the first one right there, and we spun. Second one, We went out there and we spun. I hadn't changed anything. No shock settings, no tune-up, no nothing. I was like, what in the world? And we looked at the data, made a complete 180 change on the rear suspension, and went out there the third shakedown, and I 330'd it, and it went another personal best to the 60 foot in the 330. So we come back. I let my guy look at the data. He looked at everything. We come back out Saturday. It was one shakedown, and we started racing. When we went out there, and he was like, I said, we're going to 330 it or what? He said, nah, hold it. If it feels good, hold it all the way through. And I did, and I held it all the way through. And my son was coming down the return lane, and all I could see was teeth, and him holding that ticket, smiling. All I could see was teeth. He was grinning from ear to ear. He come up and stopped and jumped off the golf cart and passed me the ticket. When I grabbed the ticket, I looked at it, and I said, holy yeah, I looked at it like that, and I said, damn. He was like, it's running good. This, this, that. And we were happy. We get back to the trailer. Called him, sent him all the data, hooked the laptop up, and he was like, oh, man, moved some stuff around, went out there. First round, I think we had to run Cam, Perry. And anyway, we were in the staging lanes. I was pumped up because the car was running good, and I knew it was running good enough to be top contender again. I was close. No, I mean, it was the first full pass I've had on the car all year since I've had Dominique helping me. So I knew we were definitely going in the right direction. So we drew first round. We were in the staging lanes waiting to run, and I'm over there hyped up. I'm like, yeah. I got a car. Now it's on me. I got to drive. Mm-hmm. Some kid comes up to me. He's like, hey, man, I hope it don't rain y'all out. And I'm like, rain us out? What are you talking about? And he takes his phone, he pulls it up, and he opens it up, and it looks like a hurricane is right over top of us. And I'm just like, what in the world? So I pulled the weather up on my phone, and it's like, we're here, and it's like a red dot. Like, it's like
coming straight for us.
Yeah, coming straight for us. So I was like, oh, I started freaking out. We ended up getting the round off, and when we run Cam, I think he spun or rode a wheelie. Something happened. And again, when I got down to the end, car made a good pass. It
Cam
felt
did
good.
A wheelie? That's not surprising at all.
Yeah, right. We got down to the end. I turned off.
Love you,
buddy. And I could see my son coming up the return road. I mean, I could see him the whole way down the return road. He's holding that ticket, and I could see teeth. He pulls up. He said it run faster again. I looked at it. Personal best 60 foot, personal best 330, personal best ET, personal best mile per hour. Mm-hmm. And I was stoked then. So before we run, I told my son, I said, call Mom, tell her to start packing up all the little stuff around the trailer because it's getting ready to get rain. And when we come back, we're going to push straight in front of the trailer. We're going to unhook the golf cart, drive the golf cart in, and we're going to load everything up. When I got the ticket, we come around the tower, and I'm looking around, and I could like heat lighting, and I was like, man, we're not loading this fucker up. Excuse my language. Mm-hmm. I was like, we're gonna win this thing. And we were coming up, and I drove underneath it. My son was like, Dad, what are you doing? I said, we're going under the tent. We're going to pit it. He was like, you said it's going to rain. I said, well, it might and it might not, but we're going to get it. We're going to fill it up with gas, put a battery charger on it, change the nitrous bottles. We're going to get ready for the next round in case it don't rain. Well, we started filling up with gas on the bottom side. Yeah. I mean, the wind blew, and it rained hard, and I knew that was it. So we had to wait around, and we loaded it up. So up to it was probably a month before the King race. I got my tuner back down there. He's from Baltimore, the Baltimore area up there in Maryland. Mm-hmm. I got him back down here, and we had a private test at Outer Banks, and we did some stuff and everything. We went faster every pass, every 330. I think we only made like 1 or 2 full passes, but on Friday and Saturday combined. And we made a decision that we needed to make a converter change and a gear change in the rear. So we did all that, and we come to the 252 race untested. Well, we private tested on Friday, but I had converter change, gear change, so I was completely left field. I mean, everything had to change. The tune-up had to change. Everything was. We had to start all over on building a tune-up. Well, we went out there and we guessed at it very first pass, and it took it, and it went out and started riding the wheelie, so I pedaled it and got out of it. We come back around. Luckily, it was enough that we made a few changes. We went back out there the second test pass and it tried to ride a big wheelie. We come back, and instead of keep adding weight on the front of it, we decided to make a bar change. Well, we made a bar change on the rear end, and between that, it might have worked, but the dew started falling, the track went away. Everything combined it together, and we went out there and spun 2 times in a row real quick. So we come back around, both of us. I was frustrated. My tuner not so frustrated. He's pretty much laid back. Shout out to Dominique, man. Thank you for all that you do for
what it's gonna be.
Yeah, thank you for all you do for the program. But so we come back Saturday morning. He looked at me and said, "What do you want to do?" And we discussed it, and we made a decision together, and we crammed some more weight on the front of it, and we put the bars back like they were, and we put the tune-up in it, which he said was if it would have taken it the time before that and not rode a wheelie, it was going to be another career best the whole way around. So we done that, and Saturday it was off the trailer. We went out, we drew Timmy Smith in the Nightmare car, the Nightmare Mustang, the turbo car, first round. And really at that point, we had decided we were just testing because, I mean, it was, I think, 6 or 7 cars, 6 cars maybe. Yeah, 6 cars in the big class, and we were like, look, we're just gonna use this for a test. I mean, if we racing, we're gonna race, but we wanted to see if it was gonna take what we had in it that first round, which was off the trailer, and it was at 3 o'clock. Weather was a little different, so we tried it. Thank you, Jesus. I snapped the button, go, and it went right through there. I mean, like on a rail. We got down to the end. I got the ticket. Ticket looked good. 60 foot, 330. Everything looked good. We got down. We made some changes. We went up. There's 3 of us left. We drew. I drew the bye. I was the first one to draw a chip. I pulled the chip out the bag. I said, there's no need for nobody else to draw. I got the bye. Some upset people. People were frowning, talking a little junk. But, hey, man, it's racing. That's how it is. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, anybody could have gotten that. You know what I mean?
The bag doesn't care who reached in there and grabbed it.
No, it doesn't.
And it doesn't play favorites.
That's right. So I drew the bye to the finals. And we went out on the bye run, and we didn't jet it up. We tuned it up. We wicked it up a little bit more, just with some timing, just little stuff. And we went out there on the bye run, and I run personal best again. Mm-hmm. Not ET. I don't think ET, because I think I clicked it off a little early, as the turbo guys will say. But the 330, 60 foot and 330, 60 foot stayed about the same. It picked up about 3 or 4 numbers at 330. And so we did another little trick when we come back that round. And because we knew we were in the finals, and Shannon ran Matt. What's Matt's last name?
Matt.
I call him I can't even remember what we called you now. Matt Bellagio.
Oh yeah.
Shannon run Matt, and Matt Redlit. I think Matt would have beat Shannon that because Shannon had problems. I think he popped or something, cut off. He got out there and the kill switch cut the car off. But Matt went red. So Shannon coasted on down. He won, so it was me and Shannon in the finals. And Shannon's fast, man, and he's smart.
That Camaro is.
We go at it on the group chat and on Facebook. People think that we're stabbing. It's really not on my part anyway. It might be on Shannon's.
So
but it's not
what
on my
Brock's
part.
referring to is, and I've referred to this group chat before, is it originally was called 252 Rejects.
What was this 252?
No, because David shut down the one big one, right?
That's right.
And so Willie started another one instantly and added all of us to it. And so it's called the 252 Rejects. And basically this entire racing season, it's basically been the Shannon Young Boasts group chat. And
yeah,
dude, I love you to death. You're not a great winner because you win and everybody has to know about it.
Yeah.
So this was coming for you, man. So of course... You take away the win against Shannon.
Yeah, we get in the finals. We go up there, and I knew I had to go. I mean, really, if both of us would have made clean passes, I couldn't have won. I mean, he's a couple tenths faster than what I am.
That thing's light.
Oh yeah,
that thing's really light.
Yeah, super light. A lot of horsepower. I mean, he had me. He's probably got me at the minimum 400 pounds on weight, and probably. At the minimum, 700 horsepower. At the minimum, I would say. So I mean, he's supposed to win, but I don't discredit. No, I wouldn't dare. If he would have beat me, I wouldn't have told him, "Oh, you're supposed to win." I just don't do that. You know what I mean? It's because I chose to build what I built. He chose to build what he built. That's just how it is.
Well, that's why we race on pavement. We don't race on paper.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Because, if you race on paper...
Well, nobody races.
You just run qualifying, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Put all the times up there and go, that guy was going to win.
Yep, that's right. So we ran. We went in. I knew I had to. I had to run my best pass in my life, and he was going to have a hiccup. Even if he was to make a good pass, he was going to have to be late on the tree, pop, snap, something, for me to win, And so I went in, and I knew I had to do my job. I went 0-16 on the tree. I killed him on the tree. We got out. I got out about 330 foot out. Maybe a little bit before it shifted into high gear, and I was sitting there holding it, and I'll tell you, just like I think I said it on the group, and I told him at the end of the track. I mean, the last 50 foot, 100 foot, it's been happening to me all my life. I was just waiting for him just to come by me. I mean, that's just how the turbo cars do. I mean, right at the end, you'll think you got them, and then the last 150 foot, they just, they just come by you like you're sitting still. You know how you're sitting on the highway and you merge into traffic and you're running 55 and the traffic speed limit 70 and people are coming by you, shoot, 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 shoot. That's how they do you. So, I'm coming down the track and I'm just waiting, and all of a sudden I look and I see the finish line, and I reach up and I pull the chute. I come across the finish line, I see my wind light come on, and I was just like, hell yeah. Mm-hmm. So we come down and we turn off the track, and I cut the car off, getting all my safety gear off. I get it all off. I get out the car. I said, man, what happened? I could tell he was frustrated. He didn't like it. Nobody likes losing, man. I mean, It's just, it is what it is. And he just shook his head and said, I spun. I don't think those were his exact words. I think it was, I effing spun. But, yeah, he spun. That's racing. He congratulated me. I said, thanks, congratulations, safe race, Mm-hmm. So then, winter circle pictures, of course. We started poking at the winter circle pictures, videos and stuff like that. And then that was Saturday. And I think Sunday we went on the private group, and I just started just giving him hell. I think Harry Darnell said that Harry went and had a vasectomy. That's the reason why he wanted to race or something. He had a vasectomy. Sorry, Harry, if I'm putting too much of your business out here. He went and had a vasectomy. He told Shannon, he said, man, you should have come with me to the doctor to get your nuts clipped. Because he's like, the doctor hadn't called me and talked shit to me not one time.
Yeah, I was actually there at that phone call.
Yeah,
because we had just finished recording the podcast here.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so, no, man. It has been a lot of fun watching the group chat this week. It's been a little tiring sometimes when I'm trying to work, and I look down.
Man, let me tell you something. For like the past probably 2 years, I just keep mine muted, like 24-hour mute. Mm-hmm. And, all day long my phone's going off. I keep the group chat muted. But all day long my phone's going off text messages or messenger people with work and stuff like that. So I would look and I would respond to that, and then I would look and like, and I'd click on it, and then it would just suck you right in.
Now you're in.
Yeah, and then you're in there for 10, 20 minutes, especially if they're in a heated discussion, and you jump in there. You know what I mean?
Should we have Jonathan Harper join back up on the group again? He's been gone for a couple weeks.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He fell out?
He escaped from the group.
Oh, yeah, we're gonna have to add him back.
I was being nice and not adding him back. Yeah. Did you see that one time I added him back when David escaped? For a little bit, they're like, oh, David got away. I was like, oh, I'll add him back, and I added Jonathan back.
Yeah.
And I was like, oops, sorry, wrong person.
That's what we say in the group. People try to leave, they get aggravated and leave, and we tell them it's for life.
Yeah.
But I found if anybody wants to know how to get completely out of it, and nobody can add you back, let me know. I can turn you on to that.
Yeah, you just have to block everybody in the group.
No, you just 24-hour mute it and put it in your archives. You don't never see it unless you go to your archives to look at it. Yeah. And then if you go to it and it's black and then you click on it, that's your own fault. You drug yourself back in it.
There you go. Go. David, you have a way to escape that none of us can do anything to you.
I told David about it. David said it won't work for me. I said, you ain't doing something right.
Well, actually, so I think he did try to do that one time. And so what we did was we kicked him out of the group. And then we added him back to the group.
Right.
And that undoes that.
It undoes it.
It undoes that trick, because you've been officially kicked out of the group, so it takes it away from your archives.
And then you add him back.
So it's not an archived anymore. Because we love David, but there is probably nothing more fun than messing with David.
Oh, yeah.
Because he rises to it every single time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So what's next for you? I saw that, is it Green Goblin is the name of the car?
Yeah.
I saw that it might be up for sale.
Yeah, I'm still throwing it around. I've got a couple cars that I'm looking at that I'm thinking about going and getting. Pretty much just two different ones. Both of them are Mustangs. Um, I like Mustangs. Yeah, I'd like to have something else different, but both of these cars that I'm looking at are Mustangs. They're notchbacks, and they're a little bit different level than what my car is. As far as they're both of them are 500 pounds lighter than my cars as rollers. Well, even if I took everything out of my car and put them in either one of these cars, I'm going to be 400 pounds to 400 pounds minimum to 500 pounds lighter than what I am now. My car it's a well built car. It's mild steel and it's some chrome moly, but it's still got all steel floors, firewall. I mean, it's 2773 with me in it, race ready, and I've got fiberglass front end doors, deck lid, all Lexan. I mean, it's still a heavy car, and to not saying that if I lose 500 pounds, that I'm gonna be able to run with the turbo cars and run as fast as some of them are, but it would help me out definitely to get to be able to run more sufficiently and consistently to run to get closer to them. Will a nitrous car, are they capable to run with turbo cars? Yes, they are. But you've got to have unlimited funds. You can take I'll just use these two cars for an example. Shannon and Chase probably aren't going to like it, but if you take Chase's car, badass Nova, I put the windows in it for you. Shout out to Shannon and Chase and the whole family, Blubdaff family, for allowing me to work on the car. When a car is a nice chassis, I'm talking about very nice chassis, and it's light. Yes, he's got as they call it, a junkyard Tahoe stock block motor in it, but those motors with the horsepower levels that they make with the turbos and everything else, stock block turbo car makes just as much as my all aluminum 632 14-degree heads, sheet metal intake, 2 carburetors. Yes, that's what I picked. That's what I chose to buy. That's what I did. I'm a nitrous guy. Not pointing no fingers. Yeah, I mean, people can say, "Oh, you're dumb. You should have went and bought a stock." No, that's not. I'm just not into it. I'm just not into the turbo stuff. But the 2 caliber cars, it's pretty much equal. You take something like Shannon's car or Coleman Heath's car, his new car, stuff like that.
Car's beautiful.
Oh yes, it is, man. It's gonna be badass. And Shannon's car is badass. I mean, it's state of the art. I mean, that's why he went and got it and finished it and built it, because the wheelbase and so on. But the car is chassis wise is pretty much leaps and bounds ahead of everybody else. And if you want to run up front, that's what you've got to do. You've got to be able to sacrifice, spend the money that you don't want to spend, do some stuff that you don't want to do, as far as having to, I ain't gonna necessarily, I mean, just to be able to sacrifice to be able to build the car, or to do the things that you need to do to get it to run that fast. And it's just yeah, we run together, and yeah, they run together, like Mike Hill's year in finale race this past weekend. Turbos and nitros run together. 484 and small block boost run together. Well, those 484 cars are way more leaps and bounds ahead of my 484 car. They're not even in the same time zone. And same thing with those turbo cars that were running in that. I mean, they're super fast. Can Shannon and like Coleman's new car, some of these faster turbo cars that run around here with us, can they go run with them and compete? Yeah, I think they can. Can they go run with them and compete and donkey stomp them? No, I don't think they can. I mean, they're gonna have to work for it. They're not they couldn't just go and run with them and shut it off at 3.9 in the run and pull the chute and coast and beat them, like we've heard Shannon saying how he does, sometimes. It's just it's different levels to this ish, like everybody says. It's different levels to it. It's different. It's all, as far as, I mean, just everything. It's different levels to it. The cars are different. Chassis are different. If you're sitting here and you've got a car that's 400 pounds lighter than the guy sitting beside you, and you're 600 to 800 more horsepower, I mean, it's kind of obvious. Yes, is it going to work? On paper, yes, you're supposed to win.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to win when you go on track? No, it's 50-50 chance anytime two cars line up. But what's happening in some of these classes is it's just like beating the breath out of folks. You know, it's like anything else. If you're going to go to run the street car class with your car, I'm just going to use this for example. You run, let's just say you run 550s with your car, and you go to a street race, and everybody's, I mean, you can just tell it's no time, but everybody's faster than you. You go to about 2 or 3 races, and you're just getting 3-4 car gap, but a car that looks just like yours. But you're going to start saying, well, damn, ain't no need for me to come if I'm going to get donkey gapped every time I come. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, my very first season, 252, was that 590 index that I used to do. Now it's just a bracket class.
Right.
But it was, I was running 630.
Right.
With the car. And my first 3 races that I went to, if I was lucky, I'd make it through first round, and then I'd be out. That I never would make it past second round.
Right.
And, halfway through the season, we're like, okay, either we call it quits, and we just go, we're not going to do this one because we're not going to make it anywhere, or we make a change. We made a change. We added nitrous, and it's amazing what a little shot of nitrous will do through a blower.
Yeah.
It's a supercharged nitrous setup. That's what I've done for years. We're not doing that anymore because I torched a block. And I just don't feel like doing that anymore. You nitrous guys are crazy for doing that stuff all the time. But, it was really funny, though, because our first pass, once we put the nitrous on it, ran exactly a 590.
Right.
It was actually my first one. My first one we don't know because they never gave me a ticket and they never recorded it.
Right.
The tree dropped and everything.
Uh-huh.
They just lost it and it wasn't in the system. So we ran another one and it was a 5900 with no number after that. And we were just like, perfect.
Yeah.
It changed nothing. We had exactly how it is.
Yeah.
But you're right. If I'd never made those changes, or was unwilling to put the nitrous on the car, I would have just quit.
Yeah.
I would have been like, there's no point in me showing up. Because I'm just a class filler.
And then some people. It's like that first year we won the 252, it was like all the cars together, and we had like 30 cars. I want to say 30 some cars at the King race, and then we run the list stuff during the week. I mean during the weeks and stuff on Thursdays, but at the King race we had like 30 some cars. Now, if you were to say, hey, we're gonna do everybody run together race, $100 entry, $4,000 or $5,000 purse, you might get 16 cars if you're lucky. I mean, and maybe if the entry fee,
and it is just because that gap is so wide.
Yeah,
is the thing.
Yeah, and there's other people that's promoting and doing races, and they're doing free entry, 5,000 and stuff like that to try to get the people there, and that's fine. And that makes it easier for the slower guy to like, hey, I ain't got to pay nothing. If I lose, I lose or whatever. But at the same time, everybody wants to win. Everybody wants to be competitive. And people aren't going to go out there week in, week out, And Reggie Davis, I know some bullshit, but I'm using you for an example. Reggie Davis has got a good running big block car. And he took his combination. I think he had a sheet metal intake with 2 carburetors on it. And he was right there. I mean, it was right there. When his car ran good, and when it made a good pass, and when the rest of the nitrous cars made a good pass, maybe not so much the turbo guys because they've always been a little bit faster, but he was right there. He changed his whole setup and fell back to run limited class, where he could be more competitive with the small block nitrous cars and the stock block turbos and stuff like that. But it always, I use this for example. They had a race back in July, whenever, 2x2 race at Outer Banks, and a certain car showed up, and a certain car that showed up can and could and will come run in the big class and can win. But the way the rules are, he fit the limited class. So guess what he ran at?
Limited.
He fell back in the limited. When he fell back in the limited, Reggie had drew him. I think it was first round or whatever. He didn't know who it was. And he was like, "Oh, who's that? I drew the guy with the black car." And we were like, "Ooh." He was like, "What?" I was like, "Man, that dude's tough." And the guys at the Coleman was telling us, "Well, what do you mean he's tough? How fast is he running?" Coleman told him, and Reggie's what he's famous for. It was some bullshit.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's always the sun ain't gonna shine on the same dog's ass every day.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why I gave Shannon such a hard time is because myself included and everybody else, we had to listen to it all year long about getting banned and going as fast as they needed to go to win, and this and that. I got called a hater for it and everything else, but it's not, because I said that they hadn't won anything. Well, Shannon, I think, won 252, maybe 2, I ain't sure, and maybe he won some other places, but they were talking about Chase's car and getting banned and how fast it is, and not, hope we don't get banned. And that, not just me, it wasn't that I was mad and I was hating on them, but I was just like, man, damn, man, I mean, do you want to get banned?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if I went out, like if I go buy a car tomorrow and it runs 370s and I want to go run 252, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to run, and I ain't going to say a word.
Mm-hmm.
And if I run, I'm not going to go out there and try to go run 370s. I'm going to go out there and run whatever I think the fastest guy's running. I'm going to try to dial it in and run that, or maybe a little bit faster. And whether it have to be 370s, it might be, but you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I
don't know. There is something satisfying though about running a season and then seeing a rule change and realizing they were targeting you with the rule change.
Right.
Like part of it's frustrating because you're like, okay, I ran faster, so now you're punishing me and other people with my combination. Or the other way to look at it is go, man, I scared them so bad. Everybody complained so bad they had to change the rules.
The first year, 2019. I didn't lose the whole year. I went like middle of the season. I won the Saturday shootouts. I won everything. Middle way through the season, we got there on Thursday night. Had to call out the trailer. Went to go crank it up, and went to go start it, and it threw water out of one of the headers. So I knew we had something wrong. So I couldn't run. I was at number 1. I fell back 3 spots because I couldn't run.
Mm-hmm.
Got the car fixed. We came back the following Thursday's event when we ran, and I went right back to number 1. I won the whole year pretty much, and we were no tickets, no clocks, no nothing, so we didn't know how fast we were running, but we took the car somewhere else and run it with the same tune-up in it just to find out. Well, we come down there on that Friday night before the King of the 252 at Kinston, and we tested, and they were like, we're going to give y'all tickets tonight and tomorrow. You're going to get tickets. So we stepped the tune-up up, and we went a little bit faster, probably another tenth and a half faster than what we've been running all year. And I'd already been running this, and I was doing fine. I mean, I was winning, no problem. And I stepped it up to this. So Saturday morning, they said, we're going to check everybody's car. Everybody was like, what in the world's going on? They had never, they check, when you first get in a 252, Chris Hammer would come around, measure your wheelbase, look at your motor, look in the car, and be like, all right, you're good to go, or no, you're not good to go. So this was Saturday morning. They're like, we're going to be down at the end of the track. We got a tent set up, and we're checking everybody's car. You come down there with the front ends off, and we're going to check your car. Well, they called us up down there for the tech. Everybody starts pushing the cars down there. I'm probably about like the 5th or 6th car. We're all in line. They're pushing the cars up. They're looking under the hood, looking at the car. It's like Coleman, Chris Herron, the 2 other people. What's the guy's name with the blower, the Nova car? I can't think of his daggone name. I think you've had him up here on the show, too.
I have had him on the cut.
And
now it's going to piss me off.
And I apologize. Dang it.
I can't look it up on my phone either because it's over there.
Man, I can't think of it.
It's him and his dad that run together.
Rouse.
Yeah.
Jason Rouse. It was them. And anyway, they were taking cars, and I got up there. It was my turn. I had the front end off, this and that. And when I pulled up there, pushed it up there on the golf cart, everybody walks over there and walks over to my car, and they walk right up to the motor, and everybody's looking at the motor, looking at it. Everybody's moving around, pointing, rubbing, lifting, pointing, whispering to each other, and then they look at each other and they say, all right, everybody can go back to the trailers. We don't got to take anything else. We've seen what we needed to see. And I was like, what's going on? And Coleman said, I'll tell you about it. So later on, come to find out that there was rumor going around that I had either billet heads or a billet block in the car, and that's why I was out there kicking everybody's butt, which I won't. I had an old, outdated 565 cubic inch big block Chevy. It wasn't nothing special. It was it just worked.
And so instead of somebody protesting you, they
just kept complaining.
Yeah. That's always my thing. I'm like, if you want to protest me, put some money up and actually protest me.
Right.
I will follow the letter of every rule.
Yeah.
It's going to be the bare minimum. Give me a set of rules and I'm going to come right up to the edge of it.
Yeah, right.
But that always frustrates me.
Yeah. I thought it was funny at the time. I was like, wow. I was like, they got in my car and they just stopped. They're like, everybody can go back. And everybody was just like 20 cars in line behind me probably. And everybody was like, what the hell? I thought we come ahead of, they were like, nah, everybody's good. We're good. You can go back.
My favorite, my guy, Frey, that comes to the track with me. He's been on the podcast as well. He, I was looking at some of the old engines that he had and stuff, and he had a block sitting there. And I was like, why is this cylinder smaller than the other ones?
Right.
And he goes, that's a stock block car. I was like, really? And he goes, yeah, if they, cylinder 1 was the standard size, all the other ones were bigger.
Right.
So that way, if they ever checked it, they always check cylinder 1. That's what the rules say. They have to check cylinder 1.
Right.
It would measure correctly.
Right.
All the other ones were oversized. And they just balanced the engine to compensate for
it.
Right. There's always ways to cheat.
Oh, yeah, it is.
And it's I won't say that I haven't intentionally misinterpreted a rule, to suit me, but it met the wording of the rule, if not the intent of the rules.
Right. It's like since the 252 began, and like I said, I mean, I've had this car for 18, 19 years. I bought it when it was bare minimum, and I've added over the years. Out of everybody's car, I mean, the chassis, I had it certified this winter. It's certified 750-25-5 or something like that. It's what it did, or something. I can't remember, but it is certified. I mean, it's safe. I probably will later on this week or by next weekend. I mean, I'm asking $30,000 or best offer. That's no motor, no transmission. That's all electronics, AMS Pro, grid, everything in it. All you have to do is drop your motor and transmission in, and go racing. It's got race pack, 12 sensors, race pack dash. I mean, it's ready to go. Mm-hmm. And it's probably one of the oldest run chassis that's out there racing and doing what I'm doing. My car used to be a bracket car. Mm-hmm. Kurt Daniels, Kurt used to bracket race that thing 25 years ago. Run, I don't know how fast they run, but they would spray it every pass, 300 shot of gas, and bracket race it.
Open headers, I'm assuming.
Oh, yeah.
If you got a Fox body in your bracket racing, you have to have open headers just dumping under the car.
Yeah, that's right.
That's just required.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But yeah, that car's been around a long, long time, and I had one of my buddies this morning tell me, I know that car has a lot of sentimental value. Man, it is to a certain extent, but if I want to, I feel like I've got to do so much work to it to get it where you want it. To get it where I want it, and it's going to take so much money to get it where I want it, or either I could get rid of it as a good working, proven car, and it is proven. Ask Shannon Young. It's a proven car. I could sell the car like it is. Somebody would have them a nice car to go racing. They could run limited. They could put a small block in it, run limited, whatever. They could do whatever they want to do with it, and then I could just take that money and put it on this other chassis that I'm looking at.
Yeah. What I have been enjoying watching is this new range of the high end cars that are coming out. Mm-hmm. They all look good. They were done well. Shannon Young's Camaro is a great example. Coleman Heath's.
Look, let me tell you something about
Camaros.
Shannon Young, about his Camaro. Mm-hmm. If anybody ever watches, it tickled out of me. A couple of weeks ago, I was standing at the starting line when he was racing somebody. He took off. He looked on like your top fuel cars, your top fuel cars, NHRA. On the back when they take off, they got them flaps, so it's aerodynamic. It lets the air out of the body of the car. They flap open. Yeah. Shannon Young's got them on his car too. It's the tail lights. He's got them on there, and it's 2 pieces of carbon where the tail lights go at on the Camaro.
Yeah.
But when he takes off, they flap open. Like if he's going that way. When he takes off, they flap open like that.
Just to let the air out.
Just to let the air out of the back of the body. I laughed so hard when I saw it. I was like, man, I like how you got your headlights. I mean your tail lights on the car.
Nice.
Yeah.
I know it makes absolutely no difference to the functionality of the car when it looks like a piece of crap on the outside or it's, got Bondo on it and whatever. I like cars that look really good.
Oh yeah, man. Let me tell you something. I'm a pet peeve about that. I like my stuff to look good too.
That green paint job you had on there was pretty nice with all the flake in it.
Oh yeah, and I like my stuff to look nice and neat and be pretty as well. And when I wrecked it and I put it back together this last time, everybody keeps asking me, "Man, when are you gonna paint it? When are you gonna paint it?" I'm not painting it.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody buys it, they can paint it to whatever color they choose, or I can get them the paint code if they want to paint the front of it back green. The bad thing about it is it's candy paint, and you can't just match it like that. I mean, you could get it close, but you'd be able to tell with it in the sun or sitting somewhere that the front end isn't exactly the same as the back. So if I do end up keeping the car and do the changes to it, if I do end up painting it, it'll probably be a whole different color green or maybe even a whole different color period, know. So yeah, that's the I like my stuff to look good too. It's killing me that it didn't paint it in the black, paint it all one color now, but I said I wasn't going to do nothing to it until I got it figured out. And we got it figured out, but I got 60 some pounds hung on the nose of it to keep it down. And I'm like a 60 some pounds on top of the 2773 that I wrote, you know what I mean? So I mean, I'm 2,830, 40 some pounds. It's just tough, man,
Yeah.
To go out there and run against a car that's 500 pounds lighter than you, 400, let's just say 400 pounds lighter than you and probably got 600-800 more horsepower than you got. It's hard, man.
I mean, that's the problem. We all push each other.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That's the if we all just agreed this is how fast we're gonna run.
And see, the problem is,
we'd be fine, right?
And we could do like the scale thing, you know what I mean? And I think everybody would still come and race because it might put some more pace at parity in the class.
Parity, yeah.
But the thing is, it's so aggravating, man. Like if we were racing in Hertford, there's really no place to set the scales up to drive over them. And the real way you need to do it is after every pass.
Mm-hmm.
That way you win. You come across the scales. If you lose, you don't have to come across scales. But if you win, you come across scales. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That way, you check it every pass. If you're at weight, you're good to go. Plus or minus 5 pounds or whatever. Because you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But
didn't top off on a fuel or
yeah,
whatever,
but I mean that'd be the only. That's the only way to make it fair across the board would be weight, and then you just run into so many more problems of having to. The aggravation of having to have scales at the racetrack. Like Goliath would be perfect because they got them in ground. You drive across them. VMP, be perfect.
Yeah, Rockingham has them.
Rockingham, places like that. But the smaller tracks, you don't have them, so you'd have to have some scales set up, and then that's going to take 2 to 3 people.
Mm-hmm.
If you had a regular set of scales that you could drive them up on and drive them off, it's just. This is aggravating. This is more hassle. You know what I mean? More stuff added to the event that you got to do.
I get that.
Like I said, at Goliath, that'd be perfect because they got the shack. You drive on them, get your weight, and drive on out. This one you'd have to wheelbases are different, so you'd have to drive up. Hold, stop. Wait a minute. We got to move the scale a little bit. Slide them forward. Get the front wheels on them. Because every car the wheelbase is different.
Yep.
I was pulling for Big Jimbo this weekend down at Mike Hill's race. That he had that. Notchback that Mustang. Everybody else had them 110, 112 inch wheelbase cars, and he was over there in 92 inch wheelbase.
I've been watching World Cup finals, man. It's been a hell of a race so far.
Oh yeah,
that new car Cletus has come out with, Eagle. That thing is ripping.
Oh yeah, I saw that
earlier today. It did a 589 in the quarter,
like 200 some miles an hour. 230 one or 40.
48.
Yeah.
248 miles an hour. Like
yeah.
I think he got his 3 as well as what they were saying in the 8th. It was like a 390 something.
Mm-hmm.
Which just tells you how much that car's back halving.
Oh yeah, right.
But that thing's nuts. It's a really nice car. Another
Oh,
Camaro, another '69 Camaro. There's lots of them out there. But Brock, this has been a whole lot of fun, buddy.
Oh yeah.
Very glad I could have you on.
Yeah,
You know,
man. Sorry it took me so long to get up here, but
no, that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine. What races are you doing? More races next year?
Yeah, I'll do April and September.
April and September. Okay.
I'll be at Northeast Dragway, unless something crazy comes up and changes. I mean, we're hoping this winter we're gonna do a track resurface down there at Northeast.
It's still a guardrail track down there.
Yes,
right?
yes. Mm-hmm.
I'm just not a big fan of guardrail tracks.
Yeah.
Especially after seeing what happened to Tyson.
Well, here's the thing with that one. If you look at you got to compare apples to apples.
Yeah.
You know, Northeast, they've got a 6-inch I-beam every 6 foot or it's every 5 foot cemented in the ground holding the guardrail, and theirs is 2 high, where Kinston's was 1 high, and then the lap on it's lapped going away from the starting line. So they started actually at the finish line and then lapped it. So as they're coming back to the finish line, there's no way if you would have run into the guardrail for it to peel back.
Mm-hmm.
You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like I said, the I-beams is in concrete. It's a 6-inch I-beam every 5 or 6 foot.
So it doesn't give as easily.
Oh, yeah, it doesn't give as easy. But, man, I've seen a lot. Nobody plans on wrecking. That's why I tell everybody, who the hell goes to the racetrack plans on wrecking? If you're planning on going to racetrack wrecking, don't go. Go run Crash Derby or something.
Yeah.
But it happens. It's happened to me. I mean, I've hit the guardrail down there twice, back in April. Then I hit it actually running Shannon Young years ago on the big end. I held it a little bit longer than I was supposed to because I was looking at him, hoping I was catching him. I was barely easing on him, and I'm steady looking at him, and all of a sudden he disappeared out the car. When he disappeared, I was like, what the hell? I looked up, and we had done gone by the scoreboards, and I was holding it wide open. So when I come through
not a long shutdown out there in Hertford.
So when I come through the mile per hour cone, I was running like 160, and I probably held it another 40 yards past that before I got off of it, got on the brakes, pulled the parachute, car was bouncing on the end. It bounced, picked the back of the car up, set it down sideways, and shot me straight into the guardrail. Yeah, tore the car all to pieces then too, but just cosmetics pretty much. But yes, it's a good track. Hopefully this winter we're going to get it resurfaced. They're going to resurface from the burnout box, I think like 160 foot out, and then they're going to hit all the different transitions with the humps, where there's some little humps and stuff out there.
Are they going to change up the water box so it's not just a divot in the ground?
That probably won't change. That probably
keep that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they're probably, because it's really unless they cut it all out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, brother, as I said, this has been a whole lot of fun.
Oh yeah,
and
thank you for having me on, man.
Yeah, man. I'm hopefully I can make it out to one of your races next year, as long as emotional damage is done and running again. So
well, good deal.
The shop that it's at, you're the holdup.
It's not chassis jail.
It's in chassis jail.
Oh man, that's the worst place to be at.
It is. I've got the engine done. I've got the transmission almost done. I've got the turbo kit like 90% assembled and ready to go. It literally is just chassis jail. I'm waiting for it to get out of chassis jail so we can assemble it, wire it, and plumb it.
Right.
So
yeah, I tell you something else we're doing this winter. One upgrade we're doing, whether we go a new chassis or not, we're stepping over to, I guess you could say, the dark side. I don't know. We're going fuel injection. We got Holly. We've got all the Holly on board. My tuner, Dominique. Shout out to Dominique again for everything you do. He's, we've been talking about it. I got some wiring issues going on in the car as well, and we're just going to strip it all out. We're going back with Holly Dominator. We're going to try that out. See how that works.
I'm going aftermarket ECU as well.
Right.
Yeah. It's getting off that stock computer life.
Right. So. Stock computer life.
Yeah, man. Yeah. It never caught whatever caused the blow up of the car. If you look at the data log that it took, it's like, perfect. Everything's great. Everything's fine. The engine just stopped.
Right.
Just like.
Yeah.
So we're like, okay, whatever happened, stock computer is not intelligent enough to see it.
Right.
So time to get rid of it.
Yeah.
So, alrighty, man. Don't forget to sign the hood before you head out, man.
Yeah. Okay. Cool deal, man. Thank y'all for having me, man.
Where should people follow you?
You can follow me on my personal page. I'm not that famous yet.
Facebook at shannonsdaddy.com.
Yeah, that's right. Facebook at shannonyoungsdaddy.com. No, I'm playing. Facebook, Brock Faircloth. You can follow my Plastics Plus page, my Brock Promotions page, both on Facebook. If there's anybody out there, if any big companies out there, and you want to put your name on the winningest 252 car in the history of 252, or if you just want to have your name, your company name on a car, I'm looking for sponsors. This stuff is not cheap. It costs a lot of money to do what I like to do. But I promise you, you will be seen. You'll get a lot of views. This year we didn't race out of town as much. Next year we're going to do a little bit of different stuff, and we'll be racing a whole bunch of different places. So if there's any companies, any people that out there that want to come on board, they want to help out with the racing program, you want to get your name on the side of the car, back window, quarter panel, hood, somewhere like that, reach out to me. Hit me up on Facebook Messenger or whatever.
Hit me up too, because I could use that too.
And look, man, I appreciate all my followers, everybody that the phone calls, the text messages, the messenger, people that I didn't even know, just people just randomly messaging me about congratulating me on my win and shutting Shannon's mouth up and this and that. It felt good. Not the part about Shannon. Shannon's a good guy. It just felt good to people reach out and congratulate people you don't even know. People. Yeah. I mean, people not even around here. People that follow me on Facebook. I've got like 7,000 followers, which I know it's not a lot. I mean,
it's way more than I got.
On Facebook, and people just random people are reaching out to me, messaging me, congratulations on your win, man. The car was awesome. This, that, and the third, man, and it feels good. So I'm reaching out to anybody that wants to help sponsor the racing program. Reach out to me. No amount is too small. Like I tell all my sponsors for my races, we're trying to go fast. You will be seen. I got a big mouth. I know how to stir the pot, and I will be at different tracks next year. We're going to be doing some stuff. We just won't be locally. We will be still racing the local stuff, but we are going to travel a little bit and go some different tracks. So if you want to reach out and you want to be on the car, reach out to me. Messenger, Facebook, VA, however. I appreciate y'all.
All right.
Thanks for having me on, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right.
See you guys next time.